I'm being joined in the studio right now by the Executive Director of the Corporate Accountability and Public Participation, Mr. Kimbode Oluwafemi, to talk more about this collection of PVC. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you so much.
Big news, there have been two extensions, the Naira notes and then the PVC. So what does this mean for Nigerians generally?
I think the chairman of INEC has done very well by this extension, though for me that's not enough. I personally think that INEC could still extend to like around February 15, and they have like 5 days because of the level of technology that we now have at the commission. But one thing that we should always know is that election is not an event. Election is not the day you vote. It's the entire process towards that voting, that also all speak to the integrity and the sanctity of the election. And that no Nigerian should, by, the logistical deficiencies of INEC, be disemphasized from voting. So I think that is a welcome development, but I think we should be able to get to, or even the point at which if PVC will continue to be relevant, Nigerians can almost continue to collect their PVC up till the eve of an election. I mean, something like that.
Don't you think, because people have been making this case that, we should keep collecting PVCs as much as, but don't you think that will affect their level of preparation for the exercise? We have barely 25 days.
I spoke about the level of technology. This is the election with the most sophisticated technology. The BVAS system itself is very sophisticated. The IREV itself is extremely sophisticated. INEC has spoken to us about their logistical framework for, moving materials. And they actually hands-on in terms of even the INEC chairman saying, I will even speak with NNPC to be able to get fuel. Yeah, but when you look at the technology itself, the fact remains that if not for the provisions of the Electoral Act that says, Part 2 from Section 47, 48, that says you must present your physical PVC. The technology with INEC now can actually recognize you that you are Mr. A or Mr. B by the time you use your fingerprint or by the time you conduct the facial recognition. But the law still says you must have a PVC. So we have the technology there, and moving forward, it's about how do we test this technology now. It's working pretty well, and then Nigerians again may think it's wise to say, look, all you just need is your national ID, and you walk up since you've registered to vote, and you cast your election.
For the people that are still maybe caught up in the web of voter apathy, they are not interested in going. Now that INEC has extended, what do you think civil society organizations like yours should be able to do to get them to go collect these PVCs? Just to show how
this election is one at which most Nigerians. Why are we having this, call for extension of collection of PVC? As at the last count that INEC gave us the figures, we had about 70 million PVCs already collected. That's about 75% of the entire registered voters. And INEC was saying we still have about 6.5 or 6.7 million PVCs yet uncollected. The enthusiasm is very large. But what I would like to say is that collecting your PVC is not enough. You've got to get there to the polling booth that day and cast your vote.
INEC talked about mock accreditation of voters just to see how, let's say, ready they are. What do you think, how is this going to help in the preparation for the election? Because this election has been defined by so many terms, an all-important exercise, once in a lifetime election, 30 years after June 12. Like there's a lot of hype around this election. So how much of this mock accreditation, and maybe voting, if you will, that they will do?
I think INEC just conducted the mock accreditation across maybe about 400 polling units. I'm not sure the report of that is out. But what we kept on hearing from INEC is that we are ready, we have the technology, and the technology has been described to Nigerians. I think a lot of Nigerians, the mistake is a lot of Nigerians have not taken time to actually look at how the BVAS itself work and how the BVAS is important to the election and what actually is in the Electoral Act. And with that, Nigerians should know that accreditation will start at 8:30 with BVAS, and then after your election, and then BVAS will be used to upload the result from the polling units. This is the understanding that Nigerians must have in terms of what is for what. And you can go back to the INEC portal to to go check that, well, the election the result that was declared at the polling booths that where I voted is actually the same thing that is on the INEC portal. I think the technology is there. I think we should give INEC the benefit of a doubt that this time around we're going to get it right. But there are still a lot of challenges that I think the entirety of the security architecture, the framework for moving logistics and material, I mean, how the tech guys are also going to have like backup are things that INEC can still, check
maybe
my
last
election day.
Sorry for cutting in. My last question probably will be, how will INEC self-audit itself? Self-auditing of INEC, so that some of the sharp practices, some of the practices we hear across the board, some people trying to maybe sell, not necessarily INEC. There are so many things we've heard across the corner. Maybe people getting to call someone to say, okay, you can get your PVC, or people are claiming that they go to collect their PVC and they are being charged one sum or the other. What will INEC do in terms of that?
Well, I think that's also a challenge to the INEC as an institution, but I also think that all of us as Nigerians are saying this. Look, every election is important, but this election is extremely important. If we really want to make the change, we want to see that change happen in our country, what we have to do that is by going to vote. And we can do that by ensuring that some of this doesn't happen at our polling booths. I mean, if you notice anything, then you can report to the appropriate quarters in INEC.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kimbode Oluwafemi. He is the Executive Director of Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa. Thank you so much for your thoughts on the preparations ahead of the election and the collection of PVCs. We'd like to hear more from you as we prepare for the election. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.